And I think that I always kind of aspired to have the ability to provide for myself and my family.
We're very honored today to have business, I'll call you a tycoon, investor, the owner of Joker Inc. in Beacon, New York.
I have kind of a thing with myself that if I can't be honest with myself, like, who can I be honest with?
One of my best friends in the world.
Who would have thought you'd be here?
McGuire is here with us.
What do I think is next?
I feel like I said this to you right before we started recording, but it means the world to me that you're here. This feels like a full circle moment. You and I have been doing this for almost a year and a half now. And you were one of the first people who not only supported me emotionally on this journey, but also provided the equipment that made this capable in that moment. And you and I have been friends for a very long time. Yeah. And we've been through some thick and thin.
Shit, man.
Yeah, exactly. And I never ever thought that that day when I showed up, that my random roommate at college would be one of my best friends in the world. We're very honored today to have a business, I'll call you a tycoon. A tycoon, investor, all around great guy, the owner of Joker Inc. in Beacon, New York. McGuire is here with us on the show today. I'm really glad that you're here, buddy. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you for the support throughout the journey.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Who would have thought you'd be here?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Somebody clip that. Clip that, fake producer. Yeah, it's I just want to take in this moment. This is episode 46.
46?
Yeah.
46.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I think we can safely say that we would not be here without them. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We all need a little help from my friends.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, no, happy to have been able to contribute. And proud of you guys. You made it 46 fucking episodes, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've got a lot of good topics on the dock today.
Yeah.
Jump in?
Yeah.
You want me to start?
It doesn't matter.
I feel like you gave him a really good introduction, so.
If you would like to start.
I don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
So, a few things about you. Like we said, that you're into real estate and investing. Mm-hmm. You're also a business owner and a parent and a husband. You're the first husband and definitely the first father we've had on the show. So that is different, and we would love to pick your brain about that. You're also, we have had a theme of business-minded people on the podcast. So yeah, it'll be nice to get your insight from a different perspective and a different industry. And then the real estate thing is something that I would love to talk to you about too, because I just started doing my real estate license.
That's awesome.
Yeah, just
like the class, or you got?
No, I'm taking the classes now, so I can get my license because it's a good fitting job for me in sales. I mean, if I can get somebody to put the steaks that Rolando cooked at River Girl in their mouth, I can sell them a house. So for me, it kind of works out. You know,
it's a deep cut. That's a deep cut.
I mean, JP knows, but so I think it'll be a good opportunity for me, and it's something that I've always kind of been drawn to. I like architecture and stuff like that, so home design has always been cool for me. So
sure. I
feel like it's something that I can fall into. So I would love to talk to you about that too.
Definitely.
You want to start off by just going over Joker Inc. a little bit, and then we'll ask you some questions about starting the business?
Yeah. So I actually did not start Joker Inc. I bought Joker Inc. in 2019, July 2019. It was a guy that I had known for a little while. He was originally born in Poland. His parents were getting older. He wanted to go back to Poland to kind of spend some time with his parents before, they got older. So we were able to come to a good deal. Took over in 2019. And then a couple months later, COVID hit, which really, was tough. But luckily, it was just me at the time, so I was able to make just enough to basically scrape by. And then after COVID, things have really taken off for us, and so we do full color digital printing, we do screen printing, embroidery, and then we can also do stickers, we can do business cards, basically anything that you can think of to put your logo on. We can do. We're doing a big order of basketballs right now. We've done mugs and lots of different kind of funky stuff. So that's basically Joker Inc. in a nutshell.
Okay. Yeah. Did you say, so were you working there and then you talked to the guy about purchasing it from him?
So no, I was working at a beer store.
Okay.
And then I had known him, we had fished together. I'd known him for a little while. He had mentioned that he was looking to sell or looking to, go back overseas. If he didn't find anybody to sell it to, he was just going to basically close the doors. And but no, so I left my job and then went and trained with him for probably about 2 or 3 months before he left, and then I took over in July or August, and it's been mine ever since.
That's a crazy journey into something. It's also the whitest way we've had somebody say that they bonded with somebody. We went fishing.
Yeah. Did you do research into what type of business you wanted to buy?
So I've always known that I wanted to be my own boss. I've always known that I wanted to, own my own business, and I've always been pretty flexible on kind of what I wanted to do. Before I bought Joker Inc., I looked at probably 15, 20 other businesses. And I knew that I wanted something with relatively simple mechanics. I didn't need an advanced degree. I didn't need, any crazy machinery. And, other than that, it's a lot of self-taught. I made a lot of mistakes when I started. And in retrospect, COVID actually might have been kind of a good thing because it allowed me some time to really kind of hone the craft and, work at smaller scale before really, allowed me to, like I said, perfect my craft and really get good at what I was doing before I had to do it on a much larger, faster scale.
And you were, so 2019, so that means you were 20.
I was 26, I think.
26 when you bought? When me and you and I were 26, we were not thinking about buying our own business. So what do you think contributed, whether it was when you were younger or as you worked more into becoming yourself? What made you feel like I can do this, even though most people don't think about this until later in life, down the road?
I think it was definitely a timing thing. I was in a serious relationship. I wasn't engaged, my current wife. But we didn't have any kids or anything. I didn't have any debt. We were essentially living for free in one of our rental properties. So my housing expenditure was pretty low. So it was just, I had done, a lot of research, and since I was young, like I said, I've always wanted to have my own business. And it was a really good opportunity. We came to a good deal that I was able to pay him kind of over time, didn't have to go to the bank for as much of a loan. So it was really kind of all the pieces just fell into place. Like I said, I've been looking for an opportunity for a long time. Been saving up my money and whatnot. And knew when the right opportunity came that I wanted to be ready, and I was able to make it happen.
What do you think? So I have 2 questions. What were some of the other business ideas that you were looking at? And what do you think let you know that you were ready to make that move? Was it something intuitive?
So some of the other businesses that I looked at were convenience stores, delis, gas stations. I think what else did I look at? Kind of odd things like I think I looked at a sandblasting business. So I mean, really kind of all over the spectrum, but things that had relatively simple mechanics in my opinion. And what was your second one?
The second question was, how did you know you were ready? Was it like an intuitive feeling? Like what?
So, I mean, I guess it's kind of like the old adage, like, how do you ever know? Like, you're never really ready. So, it was basically an acceptable risk. The company that I was working for was an amazing family with, a really large business network, and they were, I mean, to this day, they're some of my biggest clients. I have a great relationship with them. I just had a meeting with them this week, actually. So I left them on very good terms. So I always knew that if it failed, I could, always go back, and they would take me back with open arms. And my now wife was a huge supporter of me. I would not have been able to do it. Buy the house, I wouldn't have been able to buy the business without her. Like I said, I mean, during COVID, I really wasn't making any money at all. I had burned most of my savings buying the business. So, we really lived on her. We lived frugally. We're not living extravagantly or anything, but, she really carried a lot of the weight in those times. So
that's a shock, yeah.
Shut up, my wife.
You mentioned something about how when you were younger, you always knew you wanted to own a business. Mm-hmm. Where do you think that came from?
I don't know.
Yes, God.
I mean, my parents tell stories about like I would sell lemonade out of like family van like on the weekends and stuff. Like I have no idea where that came from. Like my mother came from like academia. My dad was a athletic director, and then later in life got into law, but which is its own business. But like nobody else in my family really is like has their own business or anything. I'm not really sure where it came from, but honestly, I mean, if we're being honest, it's because like in school, I went to a private school just like you. Yeah. So I came from a modest family, but a lot of my classmates came from wealthy families. And most of the kids who came from the wealthy families, their parents owned some kind of business.
Okay.
Whether it was a car dealership or, architecture firm or, whatever. And I think that I always kind of aspired to have the ability to provide for myself and my family, what I may, not that I grew up in poverty or anything, but, everybody wants to grow up and be rich, and I think that was part of the monetary upside was always certainly a factor.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, like I think everybody has some kind of that, and then but like yours seems like it was like accelerated and just like I don't want to have to worry about somebody else giving me a job.
Yeah, I mean that was definitely like I hated interviewing. Like when I got out of college, I was going down to the city looking for a job. We went, everywhere, every kind of job.
What was your degree in technically?
Business economics and a dual degree in marketing degree as well. Mm-hmm. But like I tell people every day, like, okay, I have a business and I technically have like a business degree, but I don't use a damn thing like that I ever learned in college. Mm-hmm. Like I would have been just as well, if not better off, going to work in a business as opposed to going to get a business degree. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, I understand like doctors and teachers and lawyers and whatnot have to go to school, but like I tell so many people, like,
It's definitely
there are, especially these days that it's becoming more like socially acceptable not to go to college, like from employers.
Yeah,
absolutely.
There's like the family that I was telling you about, their son went to college, and I remember telling him, like, you'll learn so much more just, and then a couple of years later, he was working in a family business, like learning, and probably learning 100 times more than if he was sitting in, you know, the best business school in the country. That's my 2 cents.
Like, I think like college did a lot for me in terms of like growing up and socially and things like that. But like ultimately,
but as far as like the education, which is technically what you're supposed to be there for,
absolutely,
and I agree with you 100%. Like social aspect.
Yeah, exactly. It teaches you like to be mature and like
to be
you're responsible for stuff.
To,
blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's really just like living on your own. Whatever.
Feed yourself and wash yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Show up for something.
Yeah, wake up early. Nobody's gonna
have the bare minimum responsibility. But education-wise, like, there's so many people that, at least our age, that like went to college and either aren't using their degree or could have done exactly what they're doing without.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, I met you there. I have great college.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't take it back. I almost left in freshman year. I was leaving, and like, I remember saying, like, Dad, I can't leave because like I've made the friends I've made.
Yeah, absolutely. Lifelong friendships. But absolutely. Like, as far as like what I can look back and be like, oh, thank God I took this class because I would never be able to do this. Like, I can't think of like anything. So yeah, I don't remember how I got there, but yeah, that's my education story.
It's a solid one.
So, outside of just Joker Inc., you also dabble in real estate, and you are a landlord and a homeowner as well. Do you have a real estate license? What got you into real estate, and why was that your pick for investing?
So, I do have a real estate license. I got my real estate license in 2016, I think. And I really got my real estate license because I knew that I wanted to invest, and I wanted to be able to go and kind of see properties, you know, without having to drag in a realtor. And you also, you know, make commission on your own sales. And but real estate, like, sales has been a great little side thing. You know, I love going and seeing houses with people, and you know, it's a great. You mentioned that was something that you were interested in. It's great as far as being flexible, as far as hours and whatnot go, and you can make as much money as really you want, or, you know, you don't have to work as much. You can, you know, so the flexibility of it is really nice. And as far as landlording and everything, yes, I have. My wife and I own together 5 rental units. So we have a 3-family and a 2-family. We have lived in both of them, so we did what some people call house hacking. Buy it, live in part of it, and rent out the other part. So that's kind of what I meant when I said that we didn't have a housing expenditure, because when we were living there, they almost were, you know, pretty close to broke even as far as like paying the mortgage, and so we bought our first one in 2018, lived there for 2 years. And then bought the second one in 2020, lived there for another 2 years. And then we have our own single family house now, that we bought in 2022. So, landlording is definitely not a passive income. You know, we definitely have to deal with a lot of crap. You know, the apartment that we lived in our Newburgh house has been vacant for the last year because the tenants trashed it, and like, it took us that long to to innovate it. And, you know, hopefully at the end of this month, we're going to be able to finally put it back on the market. But a year and, you know, many thousands of dollars in damage later. So, you know, we also happen to live in an old city where the plumbing all kind of like started to go all at once. And so that cost us, you know, tens of thousands of dollars, like at the drop of a hat to go, because we had sewage backing up into our tenant's basement, and you know, you don't have any option at that point. So, you know, it's a good, it can be definitely a good income. That's certainly, it's very stable. You know, having my own business, I don't have really retirement. I don't have, you know, 401k. I don't have a pension or anything. So the real estate is really kind of always been looked at as kind of a retirement plan. So, you know, like I said, it's stable. It's a tangible asset. It's not like, you know, cryptocurrency and whatnot. And people are always going to need somewhere to live. Like, there's never going to be, it's pretty recession proof. You know, there's going to be fluctuations in the market, but as far as, you know, people are always going to need a place to live. So that's kind of what got me into real estate. And like I said, overall, I always recommend it to people, but, you know, it definitely takes a good team. Like, again, my wife and I handle everything. Kind of we split our duties, and we each have kind of our own things, and I don't really touch, you know, her stuff. She doesn't have to worry about my stuff. And so it's really, I wouldn't be able to do it without her. So it's definitely, I recommend getting into it, but not something to get into lightly. But on that note, I think a lot of people, especially our age, look at homeownership as something that's like unattainable. And there's a lot of programs and things out there that bring it into, you know, kind of within reach for people that I think a lot of people don't realize or don't, you know. So that's always been one thing that I always preach to people. Like, you don't have to have, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank to go buy a house. You can get a house, and it may not be your dream house, but, like, you know, that's always been kind of my message to people. We bought our houses without a whole lot of money. I was making less than 40 grand when we bought, you know, both of our houses. You can do it without a lot of, obviously you have to be smart with your money. You can't be living above your means, but people that say it's absolutely unattainable, I just have to disagree. Yeah.
That's very informative. That's a great answer.
Yeah. He's been in the game for years.
Yeah. That was wise. Yeah. That didn't seem like we were all the same age. He said that as the dad who's owned a house and has kids.
He's like, don't get into it lightly now, son.
Yeah, but you too.
Yeah,
you
but it
accomplish this.
Like, don't worry, young fella. We're the same age. So. And like, by the way, like, this is probably a good time for me to say, like, I've always looked up to you in that aspect, because it's like you always dived into that and made the right decisions and kind of accepted what, just like, I'm making this decision and I'm accepting that for what it is, and kind of taking on that responsibility, and you kind of take it with the good and the bad. Mm-hmm. You talked a lot about in there, I think, like leverage, kind of like leveraging your money against it, especially in terms of real estate. In terms of like other investments, what is your take outside of like investing into real estate? Kind of like, I guess what I'm asking you is like, what level of risk do you kind of like go with, and like, what do you think with kind of the way that money works today? Mm-hmm. What do you think that somebody who's trying to maybe get to that point of saving to buy a house, or just having like, I don't know what to do with my money, what is your take on kind of some steps that people can take for that?
Sure. So I think credit is a big thing. Like, you have to have good credit. And I was really lucky that my parents basically put my name on a credit card, spent a couple bucks a month and paid it off every month while I was in college, which built my credit. But we've been out of college long enough that you gotta just be smart. So I think building good credit is imperative. And then as far as aside from real estate, I don't do a lot with stocks. I just don't know enough about certain things and how they work to put a lot of money in. I invest in a little bit of money into EFTs, which essentially honestly I don't even know enough to speak intelligently enough about them. But they're on what do I use? Robinhood.
Okay.
I do the SPY and the Vanguard. And essentially they mirror like the S&P 500.
Okay. Yeah.
And they're very that would be considered very safe.
Yeah.
You're not going to get rich off of that, but
similar to like a mutual fundish kind of thing that just kind of you're kind of like diverse enough that like the good comes with the bad, and like slowly over time, like prices go up.
Yeah, and that's just it. You're not going to make 1,000% overnight. But I that's and again I don't put a lot of money there, but I've got some money there, and then I don't really do any cryptocurrency. I have some.
We're going to ask you about that.
I don't understand enough about it. No shade to people that's their thing, but I just don't know enough about it to throw a lot of money into it. But my wife and I both have Roth IRAs. I think that's a big one. And those we set too aggressive because that's all long term. So
aggressive, huh?
So So you're going to see a little bit more volatility in it, but you can't touch that money until you're 65 anyway. So long term, shit's always going to go up.
Yeah, exactly.
So
interesting.
That's most of my
portfolio. Is there anything that you see like in the near future as something that maybe like you'll get into down the road? Anything that just like intrigues you in terms of
what do you think about the pie
business or because I'm sure as you get older you look for new ways to add to that,
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's like those simple things that you can do, like add to your retirement fund and things like that. Yeah. But like I don't know, like I didn't grow up like being taught that, Right. I don't know if you did, but sometimes like things that are, people who come from stuff like that know what to do with their money versus like some people just assume that like, no, like I'm just not a finances person.
Right. I mean, everything that I have learned has all been more or less self-taught. It wasn't like preached in my house growing up or anything. It's not that like money was taboo or anything. We just didn't really, wasn't like a big discussed thing. What do I think is next?
Or anything that just like excites you or intrigues you.
So
he's got something. He's been wanting to say this. Check back on this clip and
it's always been my dream, and but I would love to open like an athletic center.
Interesting.
Yeah, I would love to do that, like a indoor basketball, soccer, in swimming. I mean, I actually have drawings for it.
Really? Oh,
not really. It's like squared out, but like
it's the thought is there.
Track,
trying to buy the old IBM.
Yeah, I wish. Like 200,000 square feet.
That's a sick idea.
Yeah, I would love to do that. Like down the road, I think that would be sick. And I think in this area, like. Especially like Newburgh,
if you did it the right way,
so many places.
Like, organized leagues.
Exactly.
Classes.
There's no adult leagues
there's very few.
I think of around here. I know the honorary does things, but I think sports were such a big part of my upbringing
Same.
that to be able to. And we never had anything like that. Like there's a few places that have, you know, indoor soccer fields or something, but nothing that's got like, all kind of the same. And I'd love to do like outdoor fields as well and whatnot, but
Wow,
that's all.
Full complex. That's fine.
that's cool though. Yeah, that's something to look towards. Yeah.
And then as far as like businesses, I think the third party logistics is a big thing, which is basically like you have like your manufacturers and then they're selling a lot of stuff on Amazon and whatnot. So it's like fulfillment centers essentially.
Okay.
Where you're
You're
taking
kind
like
of
pallets of stuff and kind of breaking it down into like to consumer size.
okay. Just kind of like wholesaling. Is that your?
Yeah, more or less. You're just kind of the middleman. You're not really involved in the sale process. You're just kind of like the logistics side of it. So like,
it's called third party logistics.
Yeah.
So you basically just handle the.
Yeah, you store stuff and you repackage stuff, and you're kind of an intermediary between the manufacturer, the seller, which is usually like Amazon or something.
So like all the complexes around here are built for now, like on 300 over there.
Yeah.
Interesting. Is that something that where like you can rent space from Amazon and keep your stuff there, or do they like fulfill it for you? I'm just because I'm intrigued.
In lieu of, or like I said, if it needs to be repackaged or something. I just think because people do so much online.
It's everything now, yeah.
Stuff like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So we've talked a lot about business and we've talked about real estate. And when we were talking about real estate, you mentioned your wife plenty of times and how important she's been on this. And you want to dive a little bit into that? What your relation, like getting married, starting a family, that side of your life?
Yeah, so we met our last semester at college. It was really kind of odd timing, you know. And then the end of the year rolled around and we were just kind of like, well, you know, we'll stay in touch and, you know, we like each other. But luckily she lived pretty close to, you know, around here, so that helped. You know, like she wasn't from like Long Island or something. And so, yeah, we were doing a long distance thing for like 3 years or so. But I mean, towards the end, we were both driving like an hour just to like spend more time together. Like we'd stay together for, you know, 3 or 4 nights a week instead of like just on the weekends, or, you know. And then we bought our first house in 2018. That was the 3-family. Moved and bought our 2-family in 2020. And I got engaged to her in 2019. Pretty recently after I bought the business.
Okay.
And she really wasn't expecting it because kind of what I was telling her and what was true really at the time. It was like, hey, I just bought this business, like, we're gonna have to wait. I don't have any money to buy your ring. So surprised her, got engaged in 2019. We were supposed to have the wedding the following September in 2020. Had to push that off because of COVID. Yeah, we ended up having like a small, just our immediate families, like at a lake. Essentially, really just to get me health insurance. I mean, realistically, because it was the beginning of COVID. We didn't know, like,
absolutely.
It was supposed to be like Ebola, like, you know. So that was in April, and then we didn't really even tell anybody because we were supposed to get married in September anyway, and then the venue was like, yeah, no, we can't do it anymore. So we had to push it off until 2021, got married in 2021. We had my first daughter in August of 2022. And then I just had my second daughter in a week later, August 2024.
Okay. Damn, man. Congrats. They're beautiful. Oh, right. Yeah. What do you love the most about being a girl dad? I think that's a question I wanted to ask you for so long.
What do I love?
Because it suits you so well.
Girls, from what I understand, and obviously I don't have any boys, but as I understand, girls are much more kind of not so bouncing off the wall. So I definitely like that. But
shout out women.
Well, no, just boy children.
Yeah. No, I know.
You know,
yeah,
kids. Yeah. But they're so sweet, and like the way that she'll just come and like cuddle up, and like we call her our Sour Patch Kid because like she'll smack you in the face and then like give you a big hug, like all within like 3 seconds. So yeah, just the little like the she can be very cute and like a little princess.
I've witnessed little pieces of that.
Yeah. But she can also be like, she just turned 2, so she's the terrible 2s are in full force.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's just she's just adorable.
So your oldest is 2, and you have 2 already.
Yeah.
So you guys went right into the second one.
Yeah.
Was that planned, or was that something like you guys were like you always knew you wanted to, and like let's just do this now, or was there like I don't know.
So
you know what I mean?
My wife and her sister are about 2 years apart.
Okay.
And so she always was pretty adamant that like they're so close that it would be. She would like to be able to give that to her daughter.
Okay.
Obviously, we didn't know if it was going to be a girl or a boy, but she was always 2 years was always
pretty
something
adamant. That was a family plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But now we'll give it some time.
Yeah.
Guys showed up. Guys showed up, man. Yeah.
So what is like what's one of the biggest changes in yourself that you've noticed since becoming a parent?
I mean, just having to like be there all really, like not that like we have a village and her grandparents and aunts, uncles, and cousins all kick in, but like we're 99% of the time like we're all she's got, like and just kind of knowing that and watching her grow is just I would say that has been kind of what changed me the most. It really kind of softens you, I guess, especially being a girl dad. Like,
it's amazing. No, man, it's like it's been amazing as your friend watching you grow as a person, as a father, as a husband.
Yeah.
It really is a pleasure, and it as somebody who like just call it like it is that like who didn't grow up around that, it's beautiful to see your friends creating that for their kids and for their family. And I just really appreciate you as a friend for that. And with that being said, to you, like, what's the most like, if you had to like point out to one thing that kind of like makes the ecosystem of having 2 young kids, your wife, yourself, owning a business, what would you say is something, or maybe it's a few things that contribute to you being able to, like, all of you guys to kind of exist wholly in that ecosystem and make it work, and kind of like sometimes when, so everybody like, nobody can carry the load the whole time.
Sure.
So how do you guys manage to rotate that, I guess?
I mean, I think it's just, communication is a big one. We having 2 kids, I would say patience. Patience is the big one, and I'll be the first to admit that there are times when I am fed up and I've lost my cool, and but having that partner that I can kind of rely on, and if I'm at the end of my patience, like I can step away and like she can pick up my slack, and I think it's never gonna be fully 50-50, but being willing and able to pick up and let out the slack as you need. I don't understand how single people, men or women, like raise kids on their own, especially more than one. And my youngest she's only 10 weeks, so she's not moving around much. So when she is like, it's going to be that much, it's
going to be nuts.
So it's not even that bad right now. But like I said, like the 2-year-old, she's the sweetest kid in the world, but sometimes she, we're having trouble with her hitting right now. So, it is what it is, and we're dealing with it. But it's a patience thing. And she can say, take the kids, I gotta go take 10 minutes, and I can say, take the kids, I gotta go take 10 minutes. And, so it's really a give and take.
Is there anything specific that you do in that time alone that you get, or that, like, when you say, like, do you do anything to kind of like regulate yourself back to yourself?
Not necessarily, no. Just kind of...
Just the silence.
Silence is golden.
Well, you learn that one,
Especially if you have 2 kids, like, screaming for hours on end. Silence can be great. Can be just what the doctor ordered. But no, just kind of getting away and just kind of removing yourself from it is, I would say, most of what I do. Go downstairs in the basement, close the door, and just sit in the silence. Honestly, like, it sounds crazy, but it really is.
Yeah, it's a form of meditating, I would say. Yeah.
My life is just dark with stuff and stuff.
This is your chance to say what TV show you hate that your kids watch. He's like, actually.
No, we don't let them watch a whole lot of TV. Like,
smart.
They don't watch.
Yeah.
They don't watch much. I'm not a big fan of Miss Rachel. She's just obnoxious to me. I would say that's
say it with your chest, bro. What you have to say.
But no, she watches a lot of the shows that I watched as a kid. So like,
oh, nice.
She's on Little Bear right now, which is super fire. Franklin's.
Okay.
When she was like a baby, we were watching Rocket Power and Rugrats. So
I've been in an era of just like loving animated movies lately, and like bringing back that childhood energy. Is there anything about like being a parent that allows you to kind of like tap into that thing where it's like, maybe if you didn't have kids, you couldn't get there, but it's like, now I can like provide that, and it kind of brings you back. Is there anything that you guys, you do with like your wife or your kids that like brings that out of you?
When I get home, like, especially like with Kayla's accident, she can't like roughhouse with Anna, especially. So like when I come home, like she just wants to wrestle, and like that definitely brings me back to like being a kid, and like that brings another side out of me. And then watching, I've watched Frozen, The Sound of Music more times than I care to admit.
Sound of Music is a great movie.
She's on that one now. That's her most recent. Moana.
That's a long one.
She only wants to watch Do Re Mi. That's it.
Okay. Forget about the part with the Nazis. Yeah, that's just like like the if it's just the first 10 minutes of that movie, it's nothing but happiness. They're just in the field singing like.
yeah, so I mean, I've seen a lot of things like that I otherwise certainly wouldn't have, and just a lot of the old Disney movies that
Yeah.
you know, I watched Lion King with it the other day. Like I would just sit by myself, and some of those movies are pretty good.
Oh, they hold up.
Like
They hold up.
they're very good. So, I'd say that's the biggest thing.
Okay, so talking about parenting and having kids and the nostalgia of it, are there things that you're doing as a parent that you wanted to make sure were distinctly different from the way that you were brought up? Like, is there anything from your upbringing that you were like, I definitely don't want my kids to have this instilled in them?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily that anything that like I specifically wanted to avoid, but there were definitely things. And you know, I had 3 brothers, and now I have 2 girls. So obviously, the raising of boys versus girls is going to be different. But making sure that there are things that I want to make sure that I always focus on, which is, you know, telling them I love them as much as, you know, I can. You know, if I'm not home, calling them, and again, they're only 2 and 10 months, or 10 weeks. So I haven't, you know, it's not like I have to worry about showing up at soccer games or things like that yet. But just trying to be present and kind of be there and be mindful, and you know, and the fact that they're girls, and you know, the emotions, I think, is something that will be a big challenge for me, especially, you know, as we get into the teenage years and whatnot. So, yeah, not anything specific, you know, as far as, you know, trying to avoid, but just trying to be present and just, you know, tell them I love them, you know, 1,000 times a day.
Okay. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think very early in our college years, you and I both realized we were both more on the sensitive side, for sure. How do you feel like that impacts your ability to? We've talked a lot about you being a father. Like, how do you feel like that impacts your ability to be a good husband?
I mean, I definitely lead with, you know, my heart on my chest, and sometimes it gets me into trouble. But I wouldn't say that. I don't know. I think it pairs nicely with being a girl dad. You know, it allows me to, you know, play dress up princess with them, and, you know, be silly and things like that. That I might not be, you know, if I was different. Again, they're young, so I think time will tell. But there are definitely times that, you know, I catch myself and just kind of like, I mean, it kind of blows my mind. I think, especially looking at her now that she's getting older and she's getting that personality, like, I see little bits of myself or little bits of Kayla and things like that, like, coming through. And I'm like, oh shit, I used to do that. I think that's kind of what, like, those are the moments that I really am like, oh shit, this is, she's really
my spawn.
Yeah,
yeah.
My gosh.
Is there anything about yourself that you're like excited to hopefully one day see in your kids?
Like,
that's something that you guys can like connect on, that like.
So I've been doing a lot of like rock climbing lately, and my daughter has always like been big into climbing. She goes to the park and always. So I think that would be something that I would look forward to doing with them. But no, I think I am excited to kind of see where they grow into, and if it's something that I currently am a big fan of, that would be awesome. But if it's something that they kind of introduce me to, I'm very open, and whatever I don't want to steer them into what I want them to do. I want to be able to kind of facilitate them to wherever their heart leads them. It sounds funny, but
No, I think that's.
I don't want to be that guy that's like driving their kid to do something that they don't really give a shit about. That they're just trying to fulfill their own fantasies that they couldn't as a child themselves.
Mm-hmm. I think we're from a generation where a lot of kids our age were victims of that. Where their parents were like, you're going to baseball every single day because you're going to play baseball.
Sure.
And like that just long term doesn't have any benefits, especially if you don't fucking like baseball. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I played a lot of sports, and I always loved playing sports. Like, I wouldn't, and I hope that my children get into like sports. But if they want to be in chess club or some shit like that, like, I'll figure out how to, if that's really, and they're like good at it, like my daughter's going to start gymnastics. Like, I think she would be very good at gymnastics, and I've never seen gymnastics other than during the Olympics, but like, that's what you're into. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
But I would love if like she was a dope-ass basketball player, something that like I loved as a kid. Like, if that's something that we can bond over, like, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
But I don't want to like be like, you must play basketball.
There's like I guess there's like a balance in like introducing it to them versus like forcing it down their throat. Yeah, sure. Of course. Like, and especially like, I don't know, like when you're that age, like the attention span is and it's like you got to get, like, I think it brings you back to like patience. Like, if they want to do it, go for it. All right. Okay. All right. So let's take this in the direction that like we tend to always go. We've kind of gone down the topics that we set out to talk out about. But like, how are you doing mentally these days? How do you kind of like just, for the moment, take your family out of it? How do you kind of like maintain who you need to be while being kind of like a pillar for these people in your life?
I mean, I'm good. I obviously have a lot of things on my plate right now. The business is growing. We've got new employees there. Obviously, the new baby. So I don't drink much anymore. Not that I don't drink at all, but I kind of cut back a lot when my wife got pregnant. Honestly, more so than anything, just because like I didn't have my drinking buddy. I didn't want to drink alone at home. We just didn't have it in the house as much. So it wasn't like a conscious thing, but I always every night take 20-30 minutes to myself at the end of the night, like, and I'll go outside and just kind of sit and play with the dog, like, and just kind of reflect on the day, and just kind of chill out again, silence, quiet, and just kind of have some time. It's usually after the kids have gone to bed. Actually, it's always after the kids have gone to bed.
At that age,
But I think that it allows me kind of to plan the next day, reflect on anything that happened in the current day. And I've always been a very pensive person. So I'm always kind of in my own thoughts, and I think a lot of times, especially with kids and, life, I have kind of a thing with myself that, like, if I can't be honest with myself, like, who can I be honest with? So even if it's not something that like outwardly, even if it's something that like I'll fight you to the death outwardly on, like internally, at least the goal is like, yeah, okay, that I was fucking wrong. Like I may not admit that to you or Kayla or like whoever, but like, and I think that helps me keep some of my sanity. Like I can reflect on it and be like, yeah, all right, I probably should have handled that differently. So as far as like the mental, that definitely helps. The alone time, and then obviously like hanging out with friends, when we can, family, doing the exercise, staying somewhat active as much as I can. And I get all kind of ads too. Just kind of trying to maintain a status quo more or less. Not trying to change anything drastically. It's kind of
Seems that you're very just always in the moment. Like you're not really worried about the past, and you're not looking too far into the future. You're just like, let's get through today.
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, I always have things that I'm planning and thinking for the future, but I try not to dwell too much on the past. Obviously, we get fights, things happen, disagreements or whatever, with the wife, or shit happens at work, whatever. I always, like I said, will reflect on it, but I try not to dwell on it like much beyond that.
What I was going to ask you is, as someone who is familiar with beating himself up, how do you kind of balance that honesty with yourself, and how do you kind of how do you be honest with yourself while like not being like very hard on yourself? Or like you mentioned, like you're reflecting on it, but you're not dwelling on it. Like I'd like to hear you expand upon that. That interests me.
So I think that one, I mean, I understand. You have to understand like why you felt the opposite, like why I felt the way that I felt. Why was I so passionate, or like what was the trigger, or whatever that set me over. And I think just kind of understanding that and realizing that like shit happens, and I live a stressful life. Not a stressful life, like I don't want to put it like that, but like
but I know what you mean. Yeah.
Everybody lives a stressful
hectic.
life.
Yeah. Everybody has a little bit of chaos in their life.
So I think being not being so hard on yourself, and being able to say, like I said, I mean, I don't think it's imperative always that you admit it to other people, but like you should be able to admit with yourself, like when, and I think just like, okay, it was, and just trying to always be 1% better the next time, which sounds easier than said than done, but or just trying to avoid that situation kind of as a whole. I think for the most part, I try to avoid conflicts and issues as much as possible. So I would say avoidance, and then if it comes to that, like acceptance, and just trying to always keep moving forward.
Very conscious answer.
Yeah, solid.
Super conscious.
Solid. Him and I are big on like books and like just kind of the media that we consume in general. Is there anything, and it could be about anything really that we talked about today. Is there anything that you like would recommend that helps maybe change your perspective a little bit? That because sometimes you need that external to kind of like look at things objectively. Is there anything in that vein that you'd want to share with us?
You look like you read Rich Dad Poor Dad.
I was gonna say that's one of the only books that I've read.
I
knew it.
I just started reading it, dude. I just started.
It is a good book.
I haven't read it yet, but like
I'll give you mine when I'm done with it. Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not a huge reader. I have a
Mm-hmm.
I have a big like bookshelf full of books that like
Mm-hmm.
I wish I would read.
Mm-hmm.
I just sitting down like reading.
Yeah.
right now. That's understandable.
Yeah, I just
Absolutely, dude. Yeah. Is there any like podcasts or anything that you do while you're at work or anything like that?
Before I started investing in real estate, I listened to the Bigger Pockets podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Probably their first 200 episodes or more. Other than that, really, honestly, I don't listen to a lot of podcasts.
Except this one.
Yeah, that's right, baby. Who thought we'd be here as number one in your queue, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
One of one, probably.
That's the support that means the most. This dude doesn't even like podcasts. He went out of the way to follow and like us, bro.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, not really.
Mm-hmm.
I did read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that was a good book. Richest Man in Babylon I've read most of that. That was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I just would like Google like best business books and for productivity or this and that. I've read a couple of Grant Cardone books. They were pretty good. How to Win Friends and Influence People. Getting to Yes. A lot of random books.
So he does read. He reads a lot. Actually.
It seems like you're.
I haven't read in a long time.
No, maybe not in a long time. There's certainly
I haven't finished,
but there's certainly something that you gained from that stuff when you had the time for it.
The Man's Search for Meaning is one that I have read.
Okay, all right.
And that's all about a Holocaust survivor.
That's Viktor Frankl, is that? Yeah.
That is one book that I do recommend.
Yeah.
I like that book a lot, and I think that gives some really good perspective. You should think your fucking life is hard.
Yeah, and he's big on like finding your purpose.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think I took an online course, or I watched a bunch of videos of him online.
Yeah, I mean, life is pretty short, and I haven't. Other than those, there's not. Google like.
He's like that's gonna be at the title of the episode tonight. Is Will teaches you how to use Google. Business tycoon Will McGuire teaches you. You're interested. No, it's sometimes it is as simple as that. Like it really is in today's day and age. Very much.
You have to have.
You can get an MBA from books and YouTube today.
Yeah, you have to have the desire to learn about like the information is out there. You just have to like put in the 5% effort to go and like find it. Because, like you said, it's on YouTube or on Google. It's not all that difficult to find these days.
Yeah.
And then I think speaking about the bigger pot, I think one thing that I struggled with a lot before because there's so information, it's so easy to like be overwhelmed. Like look at a bunch of things, but then decide what you want to do and kind of focus. And I think in business, the same rules apply. Like I've looked at a lot of businesses that have absolutely nothing to do with like my printing business, but then. Like the diversity is not always like the best thing. Sometimes the focus and staying, expanding within that realm instead of trying to do things in all different realms, I think is good. And like there's so many different kinds of investing. There's especially these days, there's a guru for everything. Don't pay a whole bunch of money for courses and shit like that. there's so much free information. But once you find like what you think is right, like focus and study that.
So I know, like, I personally, I mean, I'm sure you have a couple people that you look to for guidance that you don't actually know. Like things that are like influential on you, and like it doesn't just have to be like authors, like it could be a director, like whatever it is for you. Do you have like a board of people? Like, is there like a few people that you can think of that really influence you in any way?
Like people in my own life,
And just
or
anyone,
like
it could be, yeah.
fictitious.
Just anyone in general.
Because I know, like,
Because you can draw inspiration from anywhere, basically.
Yeah,
I don't remember what the book was off the top of my head, but one of the books that I read, one of their big things was like create a council in your head of like people that you go to for advice, and it doesn't have to be.
That's in Think and Grow Rich. I remember that.
Okay. That's another good book.
Yeah.
Guy who doesn't read a lot.
That's a great one. That's kind of why I was
that's
asking
what
you
you're
the
asking.
question.
Yes, because I with my brother-in-law and sister have asked me this question. So who's on my council?
Great question.
Albus Dumbledore.
Okay.
Genghis Khan. Elon Musk. I don't remember the other two. Maybe Confucius.
So that's a very diverse council. Nice.
I don't remember who the last one was, but that's
solid.
short. He was a good pick.
Yeah, that's a solid choice. Can you say it one more time? Sorry.
Albus Dumbledore, Genghis Khan, Elon Musk, Nikola Tesla, and Genghis Khan, Confucius.
Yes. Okay.
Solid.
Okay.
That's a
That kind of gives you a very good like entering point into somebody's perspectives when you ask that question. So like, what is like the most reliable source of information and inspiration for you? Like, where do you get that from? And when somebody lists those things, you can kind of get like
for sure
a little idea into it. Like, you can't draw the whole picture, but like it helps people make sense to other people.
Mm-hmm. And I know it really allows you to like think outside the box. Like you've got a philosopher, an inventor, a character from a wizard from a
Dumbledore's a good one though.
No, Dumbledore's a really good one. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Harry Potter is big in my life.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
I got that shit right on me.
Yeah, we keep Harry Potter on a constant in my house.
Nice.
It's like when things are most stressful, that's when Harry Potter goes on. It's just kind of like I can recite the whole. I don't really have to pay attention. It's just kind of in the back.
My girlfriend just took me in February, and I got a wand and went to Harry Potter.
I've never been there.
Oh, dude, and you're gonna get different kids there. That's gonna be crazy.
I've never been to Disney either.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Damn. So that'll be such a tremendous experience.
Breaking ground for Harry Potter World back in like 2008.
Tough break for you. Yeah.
But
you'll be back.
Yeah. She's been there. She said it's.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to go on any of the rides.
Really?
The weather delayed everything. I got to go on one thing, but I still loved it, and I can't wait to go back.
Yeah, I'm excited to go with the kids. I think like I'm gonna just be another kid in Disney. Jaw on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited for that.
It's a lot easier to do that with kids.
Yeah.
You're just walking around like he's either on mushrooms or he's here for the wrong reasons. Yeah. Oh man, that was a really good question though.
Yeah, I'm happy I asked.
Yeah,
that was a good. That was a great answer too.
That's a good one. Maybe that's a question we should ask every guest.
Probably.
It's a really good question.
We should probably ask each other that question.
We should do
an episode.
We should do an episode where we break that down.
Yeah.
And then that can be our thing at the end. Look at you, Will. Yeah. No, I think that's a really good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well,
yeah, you got kids. Like,
I think, we can, before we go,
thank you very much.
Thank you
for everything.
This means,
JP knows you tremendously, but now I got to know you a little bit better, and I think that was a great conversation.
Absolutely.
This,
I had fun.
yeah, this has meant the world to me. Thank you so much for doing this. Not only that, for being such a big part of the support group behind this. And we wouldn't have even been able to do this without you. And now you're a guest, and it's come full circle. We appreciate all the knowledge that you've given. Thank you, dude. Thank you. I really do. I love you. I love you to death, man. You're one of my best friends for life. And I'm so glad that this relationship has lasted through college, through.
Yeah, it's been almost 15 years.
I feel very blessed that we live close to each other.
Yeah.
And then I get to, and thank you for letting me be not only a part of your life still, but a part of your kid's life and your wife.
Uncle JP.
Yeah, I really do appreciate it, and it gives me meaning and purpose too. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
Episode 46. Who thought we'd be here?
Yeah. Be sure to check out Joker Inc., located in Beacon, New York, for all your needs. The OG sponsor of Who Thought We'd Be Here.
All of the stuff has always been in the bio.
Yeah. We got our stickers from here, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for your time.
Thank you guys.
I appreciate you.
That's nice.
One of us normally walks off. We got a guest, so why don't you just...
I'll leave.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys.